and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another Manchester United news and transfer news live stream show. In today's video, we've got lots and lots to talk about. Timber, Frankie de Jong, Nunes among the main three names we'll be talking about. Ten Hag's plans, Dean Henderson out, Wan-Bissaka out, Jones out, Bailly out, Brandon Williams, tell us what is happening, what's the plan? Manchester United have not done their, what's it called, ball? Is it ball? Man United normally do like a thing. It's just come out today that Man United do like a club's annual Player of the Year ceremony and all of that. But apparently the players were too embarrassed to do it, so at least they've developed some shame. Ten Hag's plan, he doesn't want to distract United, so Ten Hag obviously starts work at Man United this week, but obviously Ten Hag's not going to start actually implementing stuff till next week because he doesn't want to distract us before the last game of the season, because we do not want to be in the Conference League. Europa League fine, Conference League, no. Get out, Conference League, get out. I tell you that now. But I want to get into the news. I've got lots and lots to talk about as well. I want to get into a few reports. I want to get into the interesting report that's come out from the Mirror. And it's basically said that Manchester United have scrapped the club's annual Player of the Year ceremony. It's understood United players are too embarrassed to hold back the tie, hold the black tie event following such a dismal campaign. Good. I mean, it would be embarrassing. The gala dinner, which is held at Old Trafford, is usually scheduled for the final fortnight of the season, but is not going ahead this year. Players are said to feel awkward about staging a do, which is why Man United bosses have not decided to go ahead with it. So good, yeah. No ball, no do. I don't want to see pictures on social media going, "Oh, end of the season do." No, we don't want to see that. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I did my winning team post when I played a football match, which was quite funny. It was a bit of a joke at United. But I do actually want to get into the news. I do want to get into the Timber news and all of that. So make sure you smash a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share the video and all of that. Maguire should get a costly award anyway. Maguire should get the most money wasted award. That's what he should get. Although Coutinho's up there with I do like Coutinho, but he's up there with fucking Barcelona. Barcelona spent a shit ton of money on Coutinho. But Timber's agent, now this is an interesting one. I take this with a pinch of salt. We could be getting played. But Timber's agent basically posted on Instagram deal closing time in an airport. So, of course, Man United fans have been tracking flights. Surprise, surprise. We're not a crazy fan base, are we? But what does Timber's agent posting closing a deal mean? He said deal closing time. That's what Timber's agent said. Now, look, this is two things, okay? He could be closing a deal with United because reportedly Timber has agreed personal terms with United. He could be closing that deal. But Timber's agent isn't just Timber's agent. He's got lots of other players that he represents. So he could just be closing a deal for another player. However, Timber's his main player that's being linked with a move away, which is why people suspect Timber. Or we could be getting played. Now, I think, hopefully this is not the case, but Bayern Munich are also interested in Timber. And United, someone's leaked to United sources that's a verbal agreement between Timber and Manchester United. There's been news leaked that United and Ajax are in talks. We know United are interested in Timber. We know Ten Hag wants Timber. But could all these stories getting leaked about verbal agreement, United Ajax talks, and then Timber's agent saying deal closing time be a way to almost trick Bayern and make Bayern panic and pay the money? We know that Timber will cost 35 million euros. Maybe Bayern Munich, for some reason, I think that's a steal, but maybe Bayern Munich, for some reason, and maybe they're saying United are in to hurry up Bayern to get them to pay because Ajax will want to sell Timber immediately so they can focus on transfer business. Or it could be nothing to do with Timber, or it could be a hint at Timber to United. Look, I want to say with Jurriën Timber, I think we're going to get Jurriën Timber. Reports about Jurriën Timber are very positive, but every report we get about Jurriën Timber, you have to take with a pinch of salt because you just don't know how true it is. If David Ornstein says Timber's coming to United, if Romano says Timber's coming to United, or if Laurie Whitwell says Timber's coming to United, then he's coming to Man United. But they haven't said that yet. So, I think Timber's likely to happen. We will have to wait and see. We know we want Timber. Apparently, Timber's agreed to come and all of that. I pray we get Timber, but he would cost 35 million euros, which I think is an absolute steal. Centre back quick, could fill in at right back if needed, but I would like him to play as a centre back. And I think Timber, De Jong, Anthony, 100% on Ten Hag's list. I'm actually making a TikTok today that I haven't posted yet, but I said right now we know Ten Hag's list is by Timber, Anthony, De Jong. We know Ten Hag's list is sell Wan-Bissaka, Dean Henderson, Bailly, Jones, plus the 5 going on a free. That's what we know. But Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, because if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest timber news and updates, do subscribe. If there's a deal agreed, if personal terms are agreed, if a bid's made, if a deal's 100% done, I'll be live to let you know. So far at the moment, Dean Henderson to Newcastle, 99% done. Timber to United. Is his agent flying to Manchester, or is he just playing us around? And we've got a big update on De Jong, a very positive update on De Jong, which is basically saying the fee that De Jong cost us 60 million and that Barcelona would accept that. So if you want to make sure you're up to date with all the latest transfer news, do subscribe. The Mirror also said about Timber that United are in talks with Ten Hag's former club Ajax over a move for defender Jurrien Timber, while another of his ex-players, Frankie de Jong, now at Barcelona, is also seen as a visible target. So more reports coming out today that there are talks going on between Ajax and Man United for Timber. And the fact that there's talks going on between Ajax and Man United for Timber, as we know, and Timber's agent is hinting deal closing time, that could suggest a very positive thing between Timber and United. But that could also be that he's working on the deal for another one of his players, because Timber's agent is, represents a lot of players. What I will say, and what I always say about Ajax, is United have a very good relationship with Ajax. It didn't take us long to sign Donny van de Beek. Manchester United normally take 6 to 8 weeks to sign a player. Obviously, Judge and Woodward have gone, so I think that will change the season. I think we'll be a lot quicker to get deals done. But what I mean is, under Rolly, Maguire took 8 weeks, Wan-Bissaka took 8 weeks, Dan James took several weeks. However, his dad did pass away. So many deals took so long under Rolly. But the one deal that didn't take ages under Rolly was Donny van de Beek, which is kind of ironic because you didn't play him, and you could tell that's probably not an Ollie deal. The board just thought, oh, there's a chance to get Donny for 40 mil. Let's get him. It's probably what the board thought. But the one that didn't take that long was Donny van de Beek, and that's because United have a good relationship with Ajax. Ajax always give us players at a reasonable price. United go bish, bash, bosh, boom. Obviously, it's Van der Sar. And I think, with Timber, it's very something that, it could be announced tomorrow for Fabrizio Romano. Here we go, Timber to United. Not that I think it will, but United have a good relationship with Ajax, and we got that Donny van de Beek deal done quite quickly. We got Tolber in talks for Donny, and then the next day we got, here we go, Donny to United. When we signed Donny, but that never happens with United. It's normally we get linked to a player, we get told there's talks, and we don't sign that player for 3 weeks. But when we signed Donny, it was literally talks. The next day, here we go. Kind of came out of nowhere, and that could be the same with Timber. We could be sitting here tomorrow, here we go, Timber to United. We could be sitting here tomorrow, Timber, here we go, Timber to Bayern Munich. We could be sitting here in 2 weeks not signing anyone. We could be sitting here in 2 weeks about to sign Timber. We could be sitting here in 2 weeks and De Jong could be at Man City. I don't know where things are going to go, but I do think Timber's a deal that wouldn't take long to do, wouldn't be difficult to do, and I think it's definitely possible. If I was going to put money on a player signing for Manchester United, then Timber would be the money I'd put, the player I'd put money on, if you get what I mean as well. Smash your like if you want to see Timber at United. Jeremiah says Dean Henderson 40 mil, buy 20 mil, 30 mil for Telles. I doubt we'll get 30 mil for Telles. Or 30 mil for Wan-Bissaka. I don't know if we'll get 30 mil for Wan-Bissaka. 15 for Telles. Martial for 20 equals 135 mil. I reckon we'll get 100 mil for all those players, not 135. Plus 120 of our budget, so 255. I think United will have about £200 million to spend. 120 budget plus 80 million from player sales. I think we're not going to get as much money as we think for players because of their high wages, because of poor recruitment. I think United are desperate to sell players. There's a lot of bad eggs in the dressing room. A lot of players who want to get rid of that. I do believe that United is somewhat desperate to sell players. Why is my hair annoying me? My hair is really annoying me today. That's just like, don't like where the parting is. It's not straight. It's just annoying me. I'll stop faffing around as well. Make sure you smash the like, make sure you subscribe. Obviously, it was the Europa League final yesterday. Rangers really unlucky to lose on penalties. I thought in extra time Rangers could have won. Darryl says Timber 100 million defender. It's not 100 million defender, but £30 million for Timber is a steal. Big up everything Man United for subscribing. Timber and the CDM would be a good start. Yes, CDM is still number one priority. At 6, a CDM is Man United's number one priority. And it's been reported that Ten Hag's number one priority is midfield. Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders before anything else. Okay, Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders, one of which is a 6. He wants a centre back and he wants a striker. It is very clear that Ten Hag wants 5 players. Obviously, Ten Hag probably wants 20 players. We all want 20 players, but that's not realistic. But Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. He wants a centre back, a striker, and if there's any budget left, a fullback. That is what Ten Hag wants to do this summer. Now, I'm going to predict our transfer window to be De Jong, Timber, someone like Nkunku, maybe someone like Lamar, even though he's not a CDM, someone like Lamar to come in, and then maybe some unknown right back or unknown left back to come in. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but it's been very clear that Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. Now, I can see Man United getting Frankie de Jong and making Frankie de Jong play with Scott McTominay, and we'll start saying Frankie de Jong shit when he's not. I'm worried United are going to sign one midfielder and it's going to be De Jong, McTominay pivot next season. That's not fair on De Jong. McTominay is not a 6. We need to get a 6. Frankie De Jong, a brilliant signing, but United need to get a 6. And Ten Hag's made it clear he wants 2 midfielders and one of them to be a 6. And that's why apparently, Darwin Núñez and Cuckoo, Oshmi, we're getting heavily linked to Timber. We're getting heavily linked to De Jong, okay? But we're not getting heavily linked to any strikers other than Núñez where there's interest. And that is because United are not going to sign a striker until they've got their midfield sorted. That is what's been reported, that, it's sorted in the midfield, then the remaining budget goes on a striker, which I think is the most sensible thing to do. Despite only having Ronaldo as a striker, there is a chance Greenwood could come back, but I think that would be a difficult situation. And, that is a chance. There's a chance Martial could stay, and then he could use Rashford as a striker, which, no, Rashford's a winger, and he's not playing like a winger. So let's not play him as a striker. Let's let him find form on the wing. But United do need a striker, but we have Ronaldo. He's staying. At the end of the day, a CDM is just top priority. And Ten Hag sees CDM as priority. Ten Hag's watched about 6 United games. He went, yep, 2 midfielders, please. Apparently, that's what happened. Ten Hag literally put his list down. 2 midfielders, defender, striker. He saw midfielders number 1 priority. And imagine Frankie De Jong and Kamara. Now, I really like Babaka Kamara from Marseille. He's going to Atletico Madrid. We're going to miss out on Babaka Kamara on a free. Fuming. I know, we're going to regret that. But dream window, Tchouaméni, De Jong. Don't think we're going to get Tchouaméni. He's Liverpool bound. But what I'm worried about is that United are going to spend so much time looking at De Jong and Timber, and actually all the 6s will be gone. Kamara is going to be gone. Tchouaméni is going to be gone. Okay, there's Carbon Phillips, but he's linked to Man City, and he won't want to come to United. He's going to be gone. What 6s are available? Declan Rice, don't have the money. There's not many number 6s out there. Of course, I'd love Joshua Kimmich, maybe Kante, he's past his best. But why would they want to come to United? And I think that's one thing we've got to be careful of as well. I know I'm waffling a little bit there. Timber will go to United, 90% sure. Frankie is 80%. He can certainly go to PSG. He hates Paris. Does Frankie hate Paris? Look, I think Timber's the most likely, and I still think there's something in Frankie De Jong to United. I actually want to get into the Frankie De Jong story, actually. And imagine if Ten Hag finishes 10th, would you still back him? Yes, I would, because the players are a disgrace, and I would blame the players. I think if Ten Hag comes 10th in his first season, don't care. If Ten Hag came 10th in the second season, would care. But at the end of the day, I don't care what happens next season. It's just about the rebuild and seeing progress and seeing an attractive style of play. So what's come out about Frankie De Jong? Well, I would care if United came 10th, to be honest. I wouldn't want to come 10th, but I'm at a point where we've had Van Gaal, Mourinho, Moyes, Ole, Ragnick, so many managers, so many issues that I think the players are the problem. And I think if we came 10th, I'd be blaming the players, not Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag's done so well at Ajax. He's not a shit manager. I'm back in Ten Hag. But De Jong to Manchester United, what's been said? Today, Manchester United had contacted Barcelona to discuss the departure of De Jong. That came out from Dario Monteiro. It said that United have actually discussed with Barcelona about De Jong's departure. Now, James Ducker of the Telegraph said that De Jong cost Barcelona £75 million from Ajax, and the Catalan club would hope to, get a large portion of that fee back if they decide to sell the Dutchman, but that is thought to be noticeably more than United are willing to cough up. Barcelona wants £75 million. Apparently, United don't want to pay more than £60 million. It's coming out. However, Dio Rizea have said that if Manchester United do offer Barcelona £60 million for De Jong, they will sell him. Now, Spanish reports are saying Barcelona will sell De Jong. English reports are saying that Barcelona wants 75 million. United don't want to pay that much money. Now, Barcelona will need to sell Frankie De Jong. Barcelona do not want to sell Frankie De Jong. Frankie De Jong does not want to leave Barcelona, and Xavi does not want to sell Frankie De Jong. But Barcelona will need to sell Frankie De Jong, or they will need to sell other players. Now, if you look at Barcelona players that are, they're not going to sell Pedri, who would generate a lot of money. You look at Barcelona players that aren't 100% crucial and could raise a lot of money, then you're thinking about De Jong. You can get money for De Jong, you can get money for Ter Stegen. And right now, there's not many players at Barcelona that the team just crying out for. Barcelona back in the day, everyone wanted to buy their players, but they're a bit like United. Barcelona have given players ridiculously high wages, overspent on many players. There's not a load of players at Barcelona that clubs are crying out for, And Frankie De Jong is a player that I think Barcelona might have to sell, because there's actually teams that would give them a significant amount of money for De Jong, and Man United are one of them. Now, I've always said with Frankie de Jong to Man United, I think de Jong will be forced out of Barcelona. I don't think de Jong wants to leave Barcelona. I think he'll be forced out. Now, I can't say if de Jong's going to come to Manchester United or not, but what I will say about Frankie de Jong to Manchester United is if de Jong wants to come to United, we can get him. De Jong might have to leave, but he might have a choice of City, United, and PSG and Bayern Munich, and he might choose one of them because we're not in the Champions League. It is about, can Ten Hag convince de Jong to come to United? Because Barcelona will probably have to sell, and if de Jong wants to leave Barcelona, he'd come to United. He doesn't want to leave. De Jong to United is all about, can Ten Hag convince him to come? Can Ten Hag convince de Jong to join the project? And our only hope of getting de Jong is on Erik Ten Hag. Because, and I tell you this, I want us to get de Jong, but if we get de Jong, we better get a DM as well. Because I don't want to see us playing de Jong next to McTominay and the pivot. De Jong does not deserve that. I will say that as well. Mike Way, a very, very reliable journalist, obviously Tier 1 Ajax Dutch journalist Mike Way, has said that Jurriën Timber, Antony and de Jong are on the table for Manchester United, but not everything will be feasible. And I think, again, Jurriën Timber and de Jong are two deals United will be working on, two deals United want to get done within the next month. I think Antony is a wait and see. I get the impression with Manchester United and transfers, they want de Jong, they want Timber, they want it done quick, they want it done out of the way. But I think we'll be looking at players like Antony and attackers once we've got our two midfielders and defender. And I think it's very clear it's Timber, two midfielders, and then we go and see what attackers are available, what price they would cost, and what attackers would be best. Obviously, we've been linked with quite a lot of attackers lately, a lot of little Bundesliga gems, which is probably due to Ralf Rangnick, links to a few English players. But I think we won't really have any idea of what kind of voice is gone. We won't have much of an idea of what attacker we're going to get until we've prioritised the midfield. But I think with de Jong, it's, can we convince him to come? I think he will have to leave Barcelona. I know he doesn't want to, but will Ten Hag convince him to come? I think that's all it is on de Jong. I think Timber is a case of, I think Timber's a positive one. I think Timber's a case of, he will join United. United and Ajax have got to come to agreement. United have a good relationship with Ajax. I think Timber could be a deal wrapped up in the next few weeks. It's between United and Bayern Munich, okay? But apparently Timber will be happy at United. You know, he is at Ajax. At the end of the day, whether he goes Bayern, whether he goes Man United, it's a step up. It's a better league. And maybe he'd be safer coming to United because he'd be working with a manager that knows him. I think Timber is a much easier deal to do. I think Timber's very possible. I think with de Jong, I think it's possible, but I think we've got to convince him as well. Let me just take a quick sip of water because I can't pronounce my words at the moment as well. So guys, please do quickly hit that like button if you have not already. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Daryl said Timber would be the best deal the Glazers have ever done. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the live chat, but please do subscribe if you're new. Share the video and all of that. I'm trying to scroll down on the live chat, see if any chats I've missed. But Gaz says we're on 100 likes. Let's go for 250 likes. So make sure you smash that like button as well. As Diego said, nearly 400 people watching. So do smash that like button as well. And Tyrell Malachi has Antony in his pocket. I quite like the look of the Tyrell Malachi, if that's how you say his name, but I've only watched him play once, and when I watched him play once, he wasn't a player that stood out because he wasn't linked to United, but I do remember who he is because he is quick as well. And City seems ideal for de Jong, unfortunately. Fernandinho and Gundogan are leaving, so suits his system well. This is the problem. United, a week ago, it was like United want de Jong, then Carbon Phillips. It came out by like Samuel Luckhurst that United are working on the deal for de Jong, and they also want Carbon Phillips. Literally, a week ago, United are trying to get de Jong and Carbon Phillips. We all know in a month's time, de Jong and Carbon Phillips are going to be at Man City. It's just life, isn't it? It's just life. I'm scared. I'm worried because United want de Jong and Carbon Phillips. I could see them both going to Man City. I'm scared about that. I am. I think de Jong and Lema would be a perfect CDM pivot for United. I agree. Even though de Jong and Lema aren't both CDMs, they're both more eights. I think together they complement each other quite well. We should go for Nkunku. I think towards the end of the transfer window, there will be Nkunku links. I think we want to sort out our defensive midfield yet. Pogba won't go until the last game of the season. He's still here. There's reports that he could stay, but we all know he's going to Juventus, and that is that. And Ajax will only give us 2 or 3 players max. I think the only player we're getting off Ajax this summer is Timber. I think we'll look at Martinez. I think we'll look at Antony. I know we're looking at them, but I think Timber. I think Ajax would only want to sell one player. I know that they're going through a rebuild, but I think Timber likely. I'm not sure about the others as well. Talking of transfers, Dean Henderson to Newcastle United is 99% done, according to the Manchester Evening News. It looks more like to be a loan than a permanent, but it could be a loan to buy Dean Henderson to Newcastle with a 40 million obligation to buy. Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail has said that Ten Hag has prioritised signing a central midfielder plus a striker to replace Cavani, and Benfica's Darwin Núñez as a target. However, a very, very reliable foreign source said that Darwin Núñez will reject United and Newcastle United because they're not in the Champions League, and reports are that Darwin Núñez has rejected United. So although Darwin Núñez seems to be our number one striker target to replace Cavani, apparently Darwin Núñez doesn't want to come to United, which is weird because there were reports that Darwin Núñez was going to come to the Premier League. There were reports that Darwin Núñez would want to join United, and reports that Darwin Núñez, Man United were the front runners for Darwin Núñez. But now it's coming out saying Darwin Núñez is going to reject us because we're not in the Premier League. And at the end of the day, you know, it has come from a good journalist saying that Darwin Núñez will reject United. It has come from a good journalist that Darwin Núñez doesn't want to come to United. But at the end of the day, people will see Darwin Núñez rejecting United as a negative. I generally don't rate Darwin Núñez that highly. Okay, the more like he's a good finisher. I don't see him working in Ten Hag's system. Darwin Núñez, Bruno, they're just not going to work together. I'm not that bothered if we get Darwin Núñez or not. I think if he's 50 million or less, go for him. But you know, when you're hearing prices like 75 million pounds for Darwin Núñez, I think, is he that good? Like, I think he's a young player. I think he's a great finisher. I think he could turn into like a Haaland type player. But I actually don't think Darwin Núñez is the biggest miss in the world. Even though I don't think he's all that. He can't really pass. He can't hold up the ball. He just shoots. And I think with Ten Hag wanting to play a very team style of football, I don't think Darwin Núñez was suited, to be honest. But no, like Darwin Núñez is going to become the next Ronaldo, and we'll just be coming back to this in a couple of years going, fucking hell, what's she on? Because whenever I say I don't rate a player, they end up being really good, which is mad. But I'm not that bothered about Darwin Núñez potentially not wanting to come to United. I don't think he's that good. Matt said we need a striker who's going to hold up the ball. Exactly. And Darwin Núñez doesn't do that. Andrew says Núñez can score, but the rest of his game is lacking. Plus, he looks like overproducing with goals this season, 100%. And forget Núñez if he doesn't want to come to us, get players who want to be here. And you're absolutely right, Jeremiah. You know, and we should be able to get big players. Look, there's players we should be able to get. The striker market is interesting. The striker market isn't brilliant at the moment, but look, I just think I'm not that bothered about Darwin Núñez. We do need a striker, and I can't name many strikers, especially ones that are affordable. But I'd rather go for some hidden Bundesliga gem or some cheap gem that Ragnick's found. A shame we missed out on Julian Albrecht from City, really. I think he would have been brilliant. But what I'm saying is I'd rather us go for some hidden gem striker than someone like Darwin Núñez. I just think he lacks a lot. Talking of players that will be leaving United, Andy Mitten, who's a good journalist, has said that Phil Jones is set to leave, which doesn't surprise us. James Ducker of The Telegraph said that Ajax and Brazil winger Antony is expected to leave Ajax, which is interesting, and that United and Liverpool are among Antony. So apparently Antony could be United or Liverpool bound. It's also said that Sergio Dest has been offered to United, possibly on loan or a permanent transfer. Chelsea and Tottenham interested. Barcelona desperately trying to get rid of Dest so they don't have to sell Frankie de Jong, let's be honest. And then it came out again from James Ducker of The Telegraph that United are chasing midfielders. He said midfielders, so two midfielders, versatile forward and a centre-half that could potentially even play right back. The fact that James Ducker has said United are looking for a centre-half that could potentially even play right back, that is timber. That is James Ducker saying United are looking at timber without saying we want timber. Name me a centre-back that can also play right back without naming timber. Can Pau Torres do that? No. Jules, could they do that? Yes, but he's Chelsea bound. That is James Ducker basically saying United want two midfielders, a versatile forward and timber. Okay, James Ducker said that Ten Hag will have £120 million to spend. He does need several positions finishing, so United have got to spend the money wisely. See that again from James Ducker. He said United have to spend money wisely, 120 million to fill loads of positions. Pau Torres, 50, 60 million. Timber, 30 million. Timber, half the price of Pau Torres. If you buy Timber, you've still got 100 million left to get two midfielders and an attacker in. You've got to spend that money on Jurriën Timber. I just think that makes sense as well. James Ducker said that more meetings are planned in the coming days for Manchester United as United look to push ahead with transfer plans. We know Ten Hag started work on Monday. We know Ten Hag's had multiple meetings with Murta, Mitchell van der Gaard, Steamer plans for planned transfers. The fact that in the last 2 weeks so much transfer news has been coming out about Man United says it all. United and Ten Hag have been discussing transfers, the Frankie de Jong links, the links to Jurriën Timber. United are in the works of transfers. Ten Hag hasn't gone to Carrington. Ten Hag flew to Manchester yesterday. He hasn't gone to Carrington. He hasn't gone to Manchester yet. But Ten Hag is in England working, trying to get transfers done, working from home. And it's very, very clear that we know, one thing we know about Ten Hag is he likes to get shit done quickly. Ten Hag isn't here to mess around. Ten Hag isn't here to take time. You know, Ten Hag likes to get deals done quickly. You know, Ten Hag made it very clear to United that he wants his business done before pre-season tour. He's a new manager. He wants his ins and outs before pre-season tour. He doesn't want it to interrupt with the start of the season. He doesn't want it to interrupt with pre-season. United have had enough dressing room issues as it is. Ten Hag wants the dressing room sorted, under control by pre-season, which is very, very fair. And I think, you know, I think this transfer window could be different to lots of other transfer windows. And I'm being quite positive about Man United at the moment. A lot of people will say, Alice, it's the Glazers. Why are you so positive? Let's be real. We'll probs end up with De Jong and Calvin Phillips at Man City, and we'll probs end up spending 100 million on someone shit. Like, you know. But what I mean is I'm very optimistic. I'm very positive about this summer, that I think with Woodward and Judge gone, that means that the transfer strategy is going to be different. John Murtough seems desperate to prove a point. John Murtough is working very, very hard. I can only applaud John Murtough. And United want to get business done early. Ten Hag wants to get business done early. John Murtough will want to prove a point. I think this could be a summer transfer window where United just identify the targets and get it done. I don't think it's going to be 6-8 weeks of media saga, links. You know, Wan-Bissaka, 8 weeks of links, we buy him. Harry Maguire, 8 weeks of links, we buy him. I think Ten Hag has made it very clear to United. He doesn't want a media saga. He knows what he wants. We've got to get what he wants. He doesn't want United to choose his players. Ten Hag said when he joined United, Ten Hag said in his interview with United, I'm only taking the job at Man United if I can have control over incomings, outgoings, new contracts. And Ten Hag's been granted that control. Ten Hag's been working with John Murtough, planning recruitment. We all know that. That's what the meetings are about. But I think Ten Hag has literally gone, that's my target, get him. You know, because the day after the meeting with Ten Hag, there's a big push in Timber to United. The day after me and Ten Hag, there's a big push in De Jong to United. And Laurie Whitwell, Tier 1 journalist, has said that United are in talks for Frankie De Jong. The day after the meeting, we entered talks for Frankie De Jong. We've also entered talks with Timber. I think Ten Hag knows what he wants. He's told United what he wants. And I think United are on the move to get it. And I hope we can get business done by July. I think it is getting the midfielder and the defenders first, and then I think we'll be later on linked for striker. But as I said about Ten Hag, he's not here to muck about. He's a man that knows what he wants. He likes to get what he wants, and he's probably told the board what he wants. He's not Ollie, who's a yes man. Ollie's like, you know what, if you want to take 6 weeks to get this deal done because you need to sort out some stuff with media and social media, that's cool. Ten Hag's like, mate, this is a football club, it's not a commercial club. I want this player, get it done. And I think John Murtough will want to prove a point. I think United have had a complete new structure. They need to get rid of players. You've got Ragnick, you've got Ten Hag, you've got Van der Gaard, you've got Steve McLaren, who all know how good run football clubs work, and they'll be pushing Murtough, who's desperate to prove a point, pushing Fletcher, who's desperate to prove a point about what's the best decision to do. And I'm very positive about that transfer window. I think, you know, I don't think we're going to be sitting here going after 8 weeks, and I don't think we're going to be sitting here in 8 weeks saying, oh, United is still working on a deal for De Jong. I think we could be sitting here in 2 weeks and there could be a deal done, a deal over the line. I don't think it's going to be a transfer window where it's 8 weeks if United work on the deal. I think Timber, I generally think, I wouldn't be shocked if we got a here we go for Timber in the next week. Whether it's a here we go for Timber to United or a here we go for Timber to Bayern Munich, I wouldn't be shocked if a here we go for Jurriën Timber came out. I do have some positivity, and maybe I'm being too positive. At the end of the day, the Glazers do run this club, but I just have this positive feeling that a big update on Timber and a big update on De Jong could come out in the next weeks, and I think deals will be wrapped up by July. I don't think we're going to be sitting here on transfer day going, oh, we're going to get anyone, we're not going to get anyone. I just hope that by the time we get to transfer deadline day, we've signed a CDM. I hate, you know, the last 3 transfer deadline days, we've been saying we need a CDM, we need a CDM, we sit there and nothing happens, no CDM. I hope we get De Jong done, I hope we get Timber done, I hope then we get CDM done, and then we move for a striker. And from what I've heard and reading journalist stories and reading the news, I think it is Timber, De Jong, another midfielder, remaining budget on a striker, and if they have any money left, they go for a fullback. I think that is the 5-player plan. I think we will sign 4 players. And again, as I said earlier, Dean Henderson is leaving. Wan-Bissaka is leaving, most likely, if we can get a deal for him. Bailly will leave if we can get a deal for him, and Phil Jones will leave if we can get a deal for him. Guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football. I go live every single evening on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, do subscribe. If there's any updates on Jurriën Timber, I'll be live. Any updates on De Jong, I'll be live. As soon as a deal is agreed, as soon as a deal is done, as soon as a bid is made, as soon as personal terms are agreed, as soon as something massive happens in the transfer news, I will be live. If I can't go live, there'll be a short video, but as soon as we sign a player, I'm live if I can go live. As soon as a deal's agreed, as soon as there's a bid, as soon as there are personal terms, Any big update in the transfer market, I will be live. When we buy players, when we sell players, I'll be live to update you guys. So do make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new. We're really, really close. We're 7 subscribers away from 36.3k. So please do subscribe if you're new. And smash a like. Prince says, let's get Timber, swap Amad Diallo for Anthony from Ajax, and then go all out for De Jong, and then get Basuma at CDM, and get Lautaro Martinez or Hugo Ekitike. I like that plan, but it's not FIFA, mate. And I think, Amad Diallo for Anthony straight swap. I don't think Ajax will do that. De Jong, Van der Beek, Bruno, midfield 3 next year. I think it could work in games where there's teams that are playing a low block against us. I don't think it's a midfield 3 that would work against, better teams. But I would like to see that. I think Bruno and Donny, I always say this, United best games have been with Bruno and Donny both on the pitch. Do you remember the best game we played under Ollie? Our best moments under Ollie, okay, came when Bruno and Donny van der Beek were both on the pitch. Remember that game versus Southampton where we won 3-2 and we played like a diamond and both Bruno and Donny played. Donny played deeper. I think it was Donny, Pogba, Matic and Bruno, or Donny, Fred, Pogba, Bruno. I don't know. We played the diamond versus Southampton. We won 3-2 with Donny and Bruno on the pitch. But what I've always said is Donny plays really well with Bruno. Put Donny deeper than Bruno and they connect well, because we played Newcastle. We won 4-1 under Ollie last season. So not this season. Last season we beat Newcastle 4-1 under Ollie. And it was 1-1 in like the 80th minute or something like that. And then we brought Donny van der Beek on in the 80th minute. And we had Donny and we had Bruno all on the pitch. And Donny was, even though he didn't get a goal or assist, Donny was pivotal in every goal. And Donny was pivotal in the build-up for every goal. And I remember Bruno made it 2-1. And then we beat Newcastle 4-1. I've always said Donny and Bruno, they work well together. Donny makes Bruno better. Bruno plays better when he plays on the same pitch as Donny and not McTominay, because Donny gives the ball to Bruno quickly. McTominay gets the ball, takes a couple touches, then passes it backwards. Donny, literally one touch pass into Bruno. They read each other well. I don't know if De Jong, Donny and Bruno would work as a midfield 3, but CDM, Donny, Bruno, I think would work. Remember Matic, Donny, Bruno? We beat Everton 4-0 in pre-season with Matic and Donny in the pivot. Matic and Donny is better than McFred. Even Fred and Donny is better than McFred. We were playing shocking against Watford. Donny comes on for McTominay. United look good. They look like they're going to get back in the game. And stupid Maguire gets a red card. I want to see Donny and a deeper role on the same pitch as Bruno. I think it will work. I don't know if De Jong is the guy. I think they would need a CDM over De Jong. But I would love to see them play together, if I'm going to be honest with you guys as well. Big up for subscribing. What if no one buys Phil Jones and Wan-Bissaka? I think Phil Jones will be particularly hard to sell because he's barely played. I think Wan-Bissaka will be easy to sell. I think Wan-Bissaka's wages will make him hard to sell. I think there'll be teams willing to pay 15, 20 million for Wan-Bissaka. I will be honest with you. Palace are interested. Atletico Madrid are interested. There are generally teams interested in Wan-Bissaka, but as far as I'm aware, there's no one really interested in Phil Jones as well. In the past, there's one Man U player I expect to get hit in was Falcao. He was poor. I expect him to be fantastic. Look, Falcao was a striker that we all thought would be good at United, and he was poor. And as I've always said with Falcao, he only came to United for the money. He didn't want to come to United. And when you buy players that don't want to come, they don't always perform, like Sanchez when they come for the money. Do you think we could do a swap deal plus cash to buy players, Alex? I think, yeah, we could do swap deals, but United don't like to do swap deals. It's possible United can do swap deals, but we just don't seem to want to do them as well. Daniel said he can see Wan-Bissaka going back to Palace, and the price of the Timber price has been agreed at 35 million euros, which I think is 28 million pounds. I'm going to actually 35 mil euros in pounds. Let me Google that. 35 million euros in pounds is 29 million pounds. So let's just say 30 million pounds. That's the price for Timber. Timber 30 million, De Jong 60 million. That's 90 million on Timber and De Jong. That then gives us another 30 million to sign a CDM. You can get a good young CDM for 30 million if you look abroad, not in England. And if Leeds get relegated, Carbon Phillips will be 25 million, but I think he will go to City. And then that's your 120 million budget gone on 2 midfielders and Timber. But then, you're going to make money for Dean Henderson. You're going to make about 50 million from just the 5 free agents leaving because of the wages we saved. You're going to make money for Wan-Bissaka. You're going to make money for Martial. You're going to make money for Bayer. You're going to make money for Jones. I think that gives us 50 million on a striker. I think United will be 50 million on a striker, 60 on De Jong, 30 on Timber, 30 on a CDM, and then the money we get from player sales. And then maybe someone like Tyrell Malachi, like a cheap fullback. I'm being a bit ambitious. I'm being a bit positive. I'm just going to pray that Ten Hag gets the backing he deserves as well. Dybala going to Tottenham. I think that's a good move for Tottenham. I think that Dybala is more suited to Tottenham than United. I could see him working under Conte. I like Dybala. I really do like Dybala, but I don't think he's the right move. I think his primary position is Bruno's position. We've just given Bruno a new contract. I think I'd rather get Eriksen on a free to replace the Mata and Lingard leaving and be Bruno's backup. Obviously, we've got Donny coming back that could be Bruno's backup as well. I think Dybala, yes, he can play right wing, but the problem with Dybala is United wanted him in the past, and Dybala apparently was only going to come for the money. And I think if you look at Sanchez, you look at Falcao, you look at Di Maria. When we signed Sanchez, when we signed Falcao, when we signed Di Maria, we all thought they were going to be great signings for Man United. We all thought they were going to work, and they didn't because they came for the money. And I think with Dybala, he's a big name, high wages, great player. But I think United want to maybe get someone like Frankie de Jong. And then I think the rest of the players we should be getting is someone like Timber, where United to step up in their career. Juventus, I know they've been poor lately, but I sounds weird, but I'm not the biggest fan of buying players from big clubs unless I think it's pivotal, like De Jong. I think, if you're buying Dybala from Juventus, he could flop. I'm very keen on let's buy someone from Brighton, let's buy someone from Ajax, let's buy someone from Marseille, let's buy someone from Monaco, where going to United is a big step up in their career. It's the first big club they've played for. I think, we've brought so many players from big clubs. We've had so many flops. We've given so many players high wages and flopped that I always find if you buy a player that's a young player with a good attitude that suits the manager's philosophy, that's a good player, and they might come from a Brighton, they might come from a Southampton, they might come from an Ajax, they might come from a Monaco, they might come from an RB Leipzig. But if they're coming to United, they've got a point to prove. And I think we should be doing those kind of signings. I think, Conte signings, your Dybalas, your big names, I think that works for Conte. But Erik ten Hag is known for developing a team, youth players. Erik ten Hag is not known for spending lots of money or buying big players. Ten Hag is actually known for buying pretty shit players and making them good, like Sebastian Haller, Dusan Tadic. They look brilliant. Obviously, easier league. But Ten Hag's known for finding them hidden gems. And I think United, you need to do what Liverpool did. I always say this, and I've said this loads of times, and I keep repeating myself. Just look at what Liverpool did with Klopp. You look at Klopp signings, Van Dijk, Southampton, Alisson, Roma, Salah, I think Roma, Trent came through the youth, Robertson, Hull, Matip was a free from Schalke, wasn't he? Fabinho, Monaco, Keita, the RB clubs, Henderson, obviously, I think he came from Sunderland, he was there before Klopp, wasn't he? Again, Mane, Southampton, Firmino, Hoffenheim. They're not big clubs, but right now, that's the best team in the world, Liverpool. Kills me to say it, Liverpool are the best team in the world. None of their players came from big clubs, and look how good they are. And people, I think people always want us to sign big names because they think booth. But I generally think when you've got a manager like Ten Hag that has proven that he can rebuild clubs by buying cheap young players, I think the perfect signing for United is players that are going to see United to step up in their career, come here, want to prove a point, and do anything to play for this club. Because right now, one of the big problems at Man United, and one of the most massive problems we have, is we have a lot of players at Man United on stupidly high wages that actually are sitting here and think they're too good to play for Man United, too big to play for Man United. They earn so much money, they don't want to be here. They're complaining in the dressing room. We've got an attitude problem at United. Everton had 2 days rest. We had a week's rest, and relegation Everton had run 10 kilometres further than us when we lost to Everton. Our players are not trying. They're lazy. They're complaining about training, and you get that when I think you bring big players on big wages and you give poor players big wages and you have poor recruitment. I think it's all about doing what Liverpool did. Let's get a player that's going to view United as step up in their career, be excited to play for United, be like, oh, United, I want to prove a point. And I think that's what we've got to do. And as much as I like Dybala, and I don't think Dybala would flop or be a troublemaker, I just think he's so suited to Conte. I think he's good for Spurs. I don't think he's a Man United signing. I don't think he's the type of signing we should be making, if that makes sense as well. Ten Hag has good dancing, apparently. Well, that's brilliant. Lingard, I can't believe Lingard and Pogba aren't staying. If Ten Hag's a good dancer, if Ten Hag's a good dancer, surely Lingard and Pogba are going to stay now and we could be Dance United. Honestly, Liverpool have recruited well, but their biggest step up was when they spent it big on Van Dijk, Alisson, and Fabinho, etc. They spent over 200 million in a matter of months. I agree, but what Liverpool did to start their rebuild was the small hidden gems. They got into the top four. They got a good structure. Then they brought 3 key players that were brilliant. But again, Van Dijk, Alisson, and Fabinho, big money spent, but they weren't at big clubs. Well, they were at big clubs, but not a massive club, if you get what I mean as well. A Liverpool fan saying Man United trash, will never win trophies again. We will win trophies again. I believe we'll win a trophy on Ten Hag. I fully believe that. I think we're too big of a club not to win a trophy. We're the third biggest team in the world after Barca and Real Madrid. But right now, we're not acting like the third biggest team in the world. We haven't acted like the third biggest team in the world for 10 years. We haven't played like the third biggest team in the world for 10 years. But we are the third biggest team in the world. So we will win a trophy. It's been too long since I last saw United win a trophy. It's been way too long. Do you think Van der Beek will thrive under Ten Hag? Yes. Now, the thing about Van der Beek is I think it might take him a couple of months, and that might, because he's probably not that match fit. He's not played. You've got to think Van der Beek has gone 2.5 seasons barely playing football. COVID interrupted his Ajax season, barely played for United, had injuries, barely played for Everton. I think with Van der Beek, he just needs to get his match fitness back. Maybe he'll do that in pre-season, but I think he'll be good under Ten Hag because really, Van der Beek wasn't bad under Ollie. Like, did we ever watch Van der Beek play and go, he was shit? No. The amount of times we've watched Van der Beek play for United and go, why didn't he play more? I think I've watched Van der Beek play for United and say, why doesn't he play more, than say he was crap. Van der Beek's had poor games, Van der Beek's had good games, but Van der Beek has had more good games than Scott McTominay while playing a lot less. I think Van der Beek will be good under Ten Hag, and I just hope that Ten Hag uses them. I'm sure he will. Van der Beek's got the work rate, which a lot of Man United players don't have as well. We need to break through the youngsters like we did with Greenwood, who I can't see coming back. United do need to implement the youngsters. Now, it's been reported that Erik ten Hag's a big fan of Garnacho, Mejbri and Garner. I think if Nottingham Forest go up, unless we don't sign a CDM because we're stupid, I think we give Garner a loan at Nottingham Forest. I think Garnacho is a player that I think Ten Hag can bring through, especially needing a right winger, but we might sign a striker and not a right winger. Maybe we give Garnacho a go on the right wing with Ahmad and rotate them and Palestri and just try out the youth and Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Palestri on the right-hand side. I think definitely, and I think Mejbri's one that we could implement. I think Mejbri, Garnacho, and obviously Garner are the three that Erik ten Hag views highly, and Alvaro Fernandez as well, especially with Tellers being shit and Luke Shaw being injured and not having a good season. Alvaro Fernandez is an interesting one. I keep an eye on Alvaro Fernandez. I think he could be used under Ten Hag. Garner, Mejbri, Garnacho. I think they're the four that could be used under Ten Hag as well. And yeah, I'd like to see him play under Ten Hag. And we know that Ten Hag has a good reputation of bringing through youth. I mean, Ten Hag was the first manager that gave really Frankie de Jong a chance. He played a bit at Ajax before Ten Hag, but Ten Hag was the one that made him a regular. Ten Hag's the one that's brought through Timber. I think I trust Ten Hag with our youth more than any manager we've had. I think he's a very good manager, and I would like to see the youth used more at United. So if we've got Ruben Neves, I don't think Ruben Neves will work under Ten Hag. He's too that. I just don't think him and Bruno would work. We won't win anything with Maguire, McTominay. We can win things with Maguire, McTominay as long as they're not starting week in, week out. Manchester is red. City haven't won the CL low. I agree. Manchester is red. Even we're shit, but we still got a European trophy. But yeah. Mook average time to go low. I don't mind McTominay as a bench player. I don't think he's as bad as we think. I think that McTominay has I don't think McTominay's good. I don't think he's United standard. I am happy with him being a bench player, but he's got the right attitude. And I also think a lot of managers view him highly. He can follow instructions. He's just not that good of a player. He's not been coached well. He's had Ollie coaching that's not helped. He's been played out of position. I think we could see a better player in McTominay. Obviously, every manager views McTominay highly. There's something in every manager sees in McTominay. There's got to be something about him. But I think maybe next season, if McTominay is played as a box-to-box with a good CDM next to him with Ten Hag coaching, he could be a good player. But again, my thought on McTominay is I don't mind him at United as long as he's not starting week in, week out. What I didn't like about McTominay was he'd be shit every week, but we still wouldn't play Donny, even though Donny would play well. And that's, I have no issue with McTominay and Maguire being United next season because as long as they're not playing week in, week out. If Maguire is playing week in, week out and he's playing good, fine. This is my thoughts. McTominay and Maguire haven't been good enough this season, but they play week in, week out, which I don't like. If McTominay and Maguire play week in, week out under Erik ten Hag and we keep winning under Erik ten Hag, fine. If McTominay and Maguire play a little bit under Ten Hag, then they start playing poor and they get dropped, fine. I just don't want us to be doing what we have been doing, which is McTominay shit, starts every game, Maguire shit, start every game. I think Ten Hag is very different to Ollie. I don't think Ten Hag has favouritism. In fact, in a Ten Hag interview, he always said he always picks the team that he thinks most likely to win. He doesn't have favourites. It's about who he thinks will do the best job on that day. And I think Ten Hag is the type of manager that if McTominay is underperforming, if Maguire's underperforming, he'll drop them. Just because they're British, because they're club favourites, doesn't mean they start week in, week out. And why I don't have an issue with McTominay or Maguire being in next season is there's more players we need to sell. I don't think long term they're good enough to beat United. I think Ten Hag will get the best out of them, but I trust Ten Hag to not play them week in, week out because the board tell them to. If you're poor, you get dropped, and that's what I expect Ten Hag to do as well. Van de Beek and just never got the ball back as quick as he used to the Ajax way. Yeah, I think Van de Beek will definitely thrive under Ten Hag, used to playing his kind of weight as well. Laporta said no to Frankie de Jong deal apparently, but they're going to have to sell him, or they're going to have to sell someone. So they might not want to sell him, but yeah. Is Lautaro Martinez available on a free? I highly doubt that. But if he is, when I go for him, McTominay and Fred have to go. I'm happy to sell one of them, but we need to keep another as a bench player for depth because we've just lost Matic and Pogba. We have no midfielders. If Scott starts next season for Man United, we'll be finished. Roy Keane said United would never win anything with Fred and Scott in the team. And they're probably true. I think if you have one of Fred and Scott in the team next to a good CDM, we can win stuff. But I think if you're playing Fred and Scott in the pivot, they're not good enough. Scott is bang average, just shows how far we've fallen. He should be in the Fletcher role, but he's nowhere near even down Fletcher's level. I agree. I don't think Scott McTominay is a good player. I think he's a bang average player, if I'm going to be honest. And I don't mind him on the bench playing occasionally, but I don't think he should be starting week in, week out for a team like United. I think really, if I'm being honest, McTominay's a Brentford player. Yeah. I think Fred's a better player than McTominay. It's just that Fred's not British and Fred's not an academy product, so Fred won't get the same plaudits as McTominay as well. And I think Fred's not aesthetically pleasing or whatever the word is as well. Do you think we loan or sell Brandon Williams? I think give him another loan just because of how shit our left back situation is. He actually was one of Norwich City's better players. I would be more interested in Luke Shaw selling Tellez, loaning Williams, and just using Luke Shaw and Alvaro Fernandez. And then if worse comes to worse, Deload as a shift at left back. If I'm being honest with you, I do quite like Brandon Williams. I think there's a player in there. People forget that Brandon Williams is only 19, had a decent loan spell at Norwich. Now Brandon Williams right now is a Norwich City player, but in 3 years' time he could be a good left back. I don't know if it'll ever be United quality, but I think Darren Fletcher's a player I can see at a mid-table club like Palace or Brighton. Not Darren Fletcher. Brandon Williams is a player that I could see at Brighton or Crystal Palace or Southampton in a couple of years. A team that's always going to finish mid-table. And then maybe one day he'd be United level, but I don't know if he will. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for the super chat. Who will win the league? City or Liverpool? City are going to win the league. Brandon Williams needs to be tried at right back, not enough of a baller to play as a right foot left back. I agree. And maybe keeping Brandon Williams around next season would be a good idea if we don't sign a fullback because you've got backup to Delow and then you've got backup to Luke Shaw if needed. Maybe that's what you do with Brandon Williams. I don't think he's the best backup, but I think you could get by with Brandon Williams as a backup fullback for a season because obviously midfield and striker is just way more of a priority. It wouldn't make sense to spend so much money on a fullback, even though we do massively need a fullback, and fullbacks are actually pivotal to Ten Hag's system. That I actually think this season, while it's exciting with Ten Hag, while it's exciting with new players, I think next season when we get fullbacks in, and we will actually see Ten Hag's system properly implemented, because fullbacks, while it's not a priority, I think they're so important in Ten Hag's system. If you want my honest opinion, guys, please do smash that like button and please do subscribe down below if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football, because as soon as there's an update on De Jong, as soon as there's an update on Timber, if we get linked to a new player, I'll be live. If we bid for a player, if there's personal terms agreed, if we sign a player, if a deal is done, if we sell a player, I'll be live to update you guys. So if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news during the transfer window, make sure you're subscribed, because I'll be covering all the transfer news during the window. There will be short videos as well, and then there will be live streams in the evening, short videos in the day. So daily Manchester United content. Obviously Sunday I'm doing a watch along to Manchester United versus Crystal Palace, which some of you might want to subscribe for as well. I'll probably cry if we lose to Crystal Palace, because I do not want to be in the Conference League as well. Can you make a video on how Erik ten Hag plays and style of play? Yeah, I could do that. I think that will be a future video coming out. And Alice, do you think we should sell Rashford or Maguire this summer? I'm not opposed to selling them. They haven't been good enough this season. But it's about replacing them in time and how much money can we get. And I think we'd buy, as much as I would sell Maguire because he's been crap this season, Bailly and Jones need to go before Maguire. And that would if we sell Maguire on top of Bailly and Jones, we're left with an injury-prone Varane and Lindelof and Timber. You need 4 centre-backs at the club, so I'd keep Maguire. And again, we've got a lack of wingers. I'd keep Rashford for another season. And if this time next year they've had another poor season, then sell. I'd give them one more year. But if they're underperforming, they should be anywhere near the starting 11, and then we sell. That's how I feel about them. I do think there's they're not our biggest problems. They've been crap this season, but I just think we can't realistically sell them because we want to sell about 10 other players. Did you see the rumours about Sergio Dest? I did. I don't think anything will happen. I think Barcelona just want to get rid and get some money. Rashford's never been good enough. He's a bluffer. I disagree that 2 years ago, Rashford was one of the best players for his age in the world. He was very good. He's just gone. Andreas is coming back. We need to sell. Like, it's just not good enough as well. Ten Hag will give Man United his first EPL since Ferguson. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right. I'm sorry if my laptop's making a loud noise. What about Kante? There's an interesting Kante, but the links have gone quiet. We'll have to wait and see. I can't see it happening. Rashford's a world-class sub, 20 minutes every game. Rashford is a super sub. At the end of the day, Rashford reminds me of Ollie. He scores a lot of goals off the bench with his pace. Rashford's a super sub, but he's been a shit sub lately because he's got no confidence. He's not been a super sub this season. He's been a shit sub. Alice, did you see the Youth Cup? Yeah, I saw the Youth Cup. The youngsters were brilliant. We're only 114 likes away from 400 likes, guys. We've got over 500 people watching. So if you haven't hit that like button, please do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do, because lots of live streams coming up as well. And yeah, I want to get into my final stories before I end the live stream and all of that. Ten Hag has realised that he needs to be hands-on with United regarding identifying targets. Ten Hag's going to get hands-on in the transfer window, according to the Mirror as well. The Mirror also said that Benfica's Darwin Núñez is under consideration by Manchester United, but Man United are focusing on a defensive midfielder and their midfield targets first. Apparently, United's priority is defender, midfielder, outgoings, then striker. I think striker is going to be the final signing of the season because you've already got Ronaldo. I think it's going to be 2 midfielders, a defender. Who can we sell? How much money do we have? And then how much money we have left goes on a striker. I get the impression that's what United's going to do next season. RMC Sport saying Darwin Núñez will not come to United. Sky Sports and Romano saying Wan-Bissaka is likely to leave United, not in Ten Hag's plans. Fabrizio Romano also said that Manchester United are prepared to let go of Eric Bailly and Wan-Bissaka to leave this summer. It depends on proposals, but both have chances to leave the club as well. Fabrizio Romano also said that United have discussed Darwin Núñez internally, but there's no official offer from United to Núñez. And Romano said Núñez does want to play UCL football, so it could be a difficult deal. And then Fabrizio Romano said that United did actually send scouts to follow Milinkovic-Savic several times again this year, but no negotiations underway. Just our yearly link to Milinkovic-Savic, who we never sign. Laurie Whitwell confirmed that Erik ten Hag and Mitchell van der Gaard will meet the Manchester United staff today in London. Mitchell van der Gaard and Erik ten Hag are now in London. That is official. They flew in yesterday afternoon. We knew that in London, Ten Hag will mainly discuss the details of his selection. The club looking to make efforts to invest more than 140 million euros to give them the right start. Tier 1 Dutch journalist Mike Way saying that United are looking to invest more than 140 million euros into Ten Hag to give them a good start. And apparently Ten Hag's in London to discuss, who we buy and who we sell, which makes sense because all the transfer rumours are coming out more than ever right now. Mike Way also said that Erik ten Hag made it clear from the start that he wanted to get Mitchell van der Gaard, and Mitchell van der Gaard will be given a prominent role at United and will be very involved. And then Mike Way, Tier 1 journalist, also confirmed Erik ten Hag is expected to attend Manchester United's game against Crystal Palace, then head to Manchester. And then Mike Way also said that Erik ten Hag is involving Mitchell van der Gaard in everything with Manchester United, which indicates Steve McLaren will have a less prominent role. It seems Mitchell van der Gaard is going to be very key to Erik ten Hag's success, and he's going to work along with him. And James Ducker of The Telegraph said that Rangnick is keen to present his findings on the squad to Ten Hag following a 6-month spell. And it seems that once the season is over, Rangnick's just going to go to Ten Hag and he's probably going to go in on the players and be like, the shit. Hopefully. I think Rangnick's going to be brutal and tell Ten Hag about the player attitude, where the problem lies and all of that, so Ten Hag can be up to date. Andrew said Ollie was a brilliant super sub, but he also played right wing quite a bit when Bex was injured. Super underrated player despite his managerial tenure. I agree. Didn't watch Ollie loads, but he was. I remember him being quite an underrated player as well. I want to see United win in Liverpool next season. I want to see us beat Liverpool because we can never fucking beat Liverpool at the moment. Mike Phelan's future is said to be uncertain. Bish bash bosh. Yes, get him out. No disrespect to Mike Phelan. He was a. But yeah, Chris Armas, Ewan Sharp, Sasha Lenz all set to leave United at the end of the season as well. And then an interesting story came out by the National News via Andy Mitten. Now, Andy Mitten's a good journalist. And he said an investigation into leaks from the Manchester United dressing room was carried out and concluded with the club satisfied that will be less of an issue next season. Apparently, Man United have done a full-on investigation into the leaks, and they think next season that will not be a problem. AKA, whoever the leaker is will be leaving this season. Whether it's Lingard, whether it's Bailly, whether it's Dean Henderson, whether it's 3 or 4 players, Man United are satisfied the leaker will not be here next season. The leaks will be less of an issue next season. They've done their investigation. They have a rough idea of who it is. And yeah. As well, Alice, do you think United will sign Jed Spence? I think possible. I think it would be a last-minute signing. I think, I get the impression it is sort of the midfield, sort of defence. Remaining budget goes on a striker, and if there's a little bit of money left, United would like a fullback. But I think if we do sign a fullback, it will be very much an end of the season thing. I'd like us to sign a fullback. I think we do need a fullback, but again, I've always said I think it will be very much an end of the season thing. Right, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in today's live stream. It's been a brilliant live stream. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys and all of that. There's a lot of news to get through. I will be back tomorrow night for another live stream, so do make sure you're subscribed if you're new. I do live streams every single evening on the Alice Talks Football channel, so if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe. Sometimes I do short videos during the day, like more tactical videos, and then I do transfer news live streams in the evening. So thanks everyone for tuning into today's show. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. I will be back tomorrow. Subscribe if you're new. See you next time. Bye.